Breaking news, this here from Washington. Take it to you, Patrick.
The British government, absorbed in a life or death struggle with Napoleonic France, adopted a offensive strategy against the United States when the Americans declared war in 1812. Reinforcements were held back from Canada, and reliance was instead made on local militias and native allies to bolster the British Army in Canada. However, after the defeat and exile of Napoleon Bonaparte in April 1814, Britain was able to use its available troops and ships to prosecute its war with the United States. It was decided to use these forces in raids.
After landing in Bladensburg and defeating a small militia of American troops, the British continued on to Washington to burn the city to the ground. President James Madison, members of his government, and the military fled the city in the wake of the British victory after the battle.
After burning the Capitol, the troops turned northwest up Pennsylvania Avenue toward the White House. After U.S. government officials and President Madison fled the city, the First Lady, Dolly Madison, received a letter from her husband urging her to be prepared to leave Washington at a moment's notice. Dolly organized the slaves and staff to save valuables from the British, including a famous portrait of George Washington.
Seen here. There it is. That's him. The British Army entered Washington in the late afternoon, and General Ross and British officers dined that night at the deserted White House. Meanwhile, the British troops, ecstatic that they had captured their enemy's capital, began setting the city aflame in revenge for the burning of the Canadian government buildings by the U.S. troops earlier in the war.
The White House, a number of federal buildings, and several private homes were destroyed. The still uncompleted Capitol building was also set on fire, and the House of Representatives and the Library of Congress were gutted before a torrential downpour doused the flames.
We will bring more news as time goes on. As of now, that is all we can tell you, but we have a clip of the White House actually being burned. Take a look, it's pretty graphic. That's all. Good night.